Good morning. Welcome to the Shotsuki service for the month of September. Nice to be back with everyone here and there joining us for service. A bit of a quiet August and then the Labor Day weekend, and now we're back in business, and so nice to have all of you here. I'd like to introduce our chairpersons for today. Yes, as you might have guessed, we have once again the Sloth family. Dad, Sadie, Mom, Sho, and baby Tsuki are all here once again. They're so happy to be able to join us for our Shotsuki service. And Mama Sho was commenting how nice it is to come to the end of summer and September is once again kind of a new beginning. Kids go back to school and everything are starting again. Dharma school and all are starting again, and so kind of a freshness to not only to the air but to the rhythms of the temple. And they're so happy to, they can see how having the Shotsuki service early each month is kind of guides the rhythms that we enjoy here at the temple, and so for them to be a part of it, and in doing so, chairing these services, they come to appreciate all the more the rhythms that kind of continue through the year. And we initiate this with the Shotsuki service beginning at the start of every month. So welcome again to the Sloth family. It's always nice to have them here. I'd like to go over the service order with you today. We will begin with the Hyobyakumon adorations that state the purpose of this gathering, our Shotsuki service. Then we'll have the reading of the Shotsuki names, and please prepare at home so that you can come up and offer incense or whatever you have set up to do to come up during the reading of the names as you would at the temple. Come up and offer incense, each person of the family coming up. This will be followed by the chanting of the Sambujo and the Amida Kyo. I'll take my seat up on the altar for that portion of the service. Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion, and then I'll be back for our Dharma message. And with that, we will begin. Please join me in Gassho. Hyobyakumon. Today, on this occasion of the Shotsuki service for the month of September, members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Now we'll have the reading of the Shotsuki names. Again, please come up in Oshoko during the reading. Akinaga, Osamu, Bruno, Alberta, Doi, Akitaka, Fukuyama, Akiko, Hasegawa, Akira, Mashimoto, Ryuzo, Hatakeda, Tomo, Hayame, Rei, Hori, Yoshie, Imazumi, Kanae, Imazumi, Rose, Toshiko, Inoue, Chikara, Iwaihara, Katsutaro, Kataoka, Hisao, Kawahara, Yukino, Kobu, Sensaburo, Komatsu, Kameko, Kumamoto, Heihachiro, Maruyama, Kazuko, Maeda, Kinu, Makraski, Asoko, Asako, Mikami,
直右衛門、望月清、森友、インフィン、いつこ、村川、高尾、Meyer, Richard Rick, Nagai, Infant, Francis, Nakano, Makoto, Nakano, Tsuchino, Nakao, Toshiko D, Nakao, Toyokichi, Nakaso, Iku, Nishikawa, Kimio, Norie, Misuye, Ogawa, Infant, Kiyomi, Omi, Henry, Sugitani, Saburo, Sugiyama, Infant, Shiro, Tabushi, Hinaka, Tamura, Rei, Tajima, Nobu, Takeda, Risaburo, Takeyama, Misuye, Tsuchiya, Marie, Tsurumoto, Tori, Tsuyuki, Kentaro, Umene, Torakichi, Yamada, Goichi, Yamamoto, Emiko, Yamamoto, Otonori, Yamamoto, Yujiro, Yamasaki, Magoichi, Yamasaki, Shina. These are the Shotsuki names for the month of September. If there are additions, corrections, please notify the office. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Sambujo, Amida Kyo. Namanda, Namanda. 殺阿弥陀経行税がも日時分際社営国美寿吉行独音両大ビク修千に150人区改正大あらかん中小知識上路シャリホマカモケンデンマカカショマカカ千年マカクチラピハタシュリアンダガナンダアナンダラゴラドモンナダイビンズルアラダカルダイマカコヒンナハクラアヌルダヨゼト将来弟子両所もさまかさ本州シリ王子あいったもさけんだ課題もさ上昇人菩薩四尿税と将来もさ牛食大官陰と無料商店大祝二次文語長老シャリ法重税裁法40万億分の世界の暗極楽合同不分語阿弥陀根源在説法シャリ法移動過去名義極楽語国衆上無宿単重省楽公明極楽シャリ法極楽国土七十何十七十羅も七十五十改正司法収葬医療税庫非国明暗極楽シャリ法極楽国土七宝地薬毒水10万号中地体順に根社無事非縁街道根言ルリありご上上老各類根言ルリあり社交釈衆名の二言直視地中連下大尿車輪小式証拠大式陽光釈式釈庫釈式白月シャリ法国ら国土上重尿税空毒将軍ウシャリ法イブ国土上差天学黄金維持昼夜六時理由曼荼羅家広告修上上位昇誕各位英国上修明家空用他法十万六分六位直時天東本国凡直教業シャリ法国ら国土上重尿税空毒将軍物資シャリ法異国上修十奇妙座敷市長薬国弱法務シャリ下領民が愚名市長聖書州長長や六時水和下音高音年長高根公力式母大文那小道文行税等法合同修上門税音に大新年分年法年祖シャリ法領物医師超実税裁法少々少位社外部国土無三幕州シャリ法合部国土商務三幕道司名画教有実税所有庁改正阿弥陀仏 仏欲両方温泉流園芸少佐シャリ法非部国土未部水道東方五十牛法ラモ睡眠妙音利尿百戦十学同時草門税恩赦開示年上年分年法年相死心チャリオ五部国土長寿尿税空毒将軍
Welcome again to our Shotsuki service for September. It's always a very touching and meaningful service. Nice to have our Shotsuki families joining us today, here and there, and to have everyone else supporting. So today, I wanted to share a story about our horse, Shadow. So some of you know that Charmin and I have a horse named Shadow, and during the past couple months, Charmin gave me a birthday gift of some books to read on horses, and one of the books I was reading recently is written by a gentleman named Mark Rashid, and he has an approach to training horses that he calls to be a passive leader, and not to let them do whatever they want, but to, as he's watching a herd of horses in his youth, he would see that there'd be an alpha horse, but the other horses would stay away from this horse. It would be the leader, but not a social leader. And so there'd be another horse that everyone would want to be around and would follow. If that horse went to get some water, others would join her and go and get some water. And so passively selected to be a leader. So passive means how it was chosen to be the leader. And so in training horses, there's kind of a prior trend to try to be the alpha of the horse you're trying to teach and show them that you're the boss, you're the leader. And you see this in other maybe training dogs as well. You want them to know who's the boss, right? And so when horses are trained that way, they can be trained well and very responsively, but there's a kind of a resentment that might explode later on that they are being told, made to do something. And so it's kind of a dictatorship rather than a partnership. So Mark is trying to share this partnership kind of training that he has adopted to train his horses. Okay, so he learned this through watching the herds and how not to be the alpha, but to be a leader just the same. And so he goes around and does these training sessions here and there, but he also has his own leading a ranch, and he wanted everything to be just so, from how the fences were, how everything looked, who was hired, and how they act and respond to this type of training. So he set this up, and as his ranch kind of fell into place, there's like maybe 60 or more horses there. And so feeding time comes, and there's 3 times a day they feed the horse, in the morning, at noon, and then they go to their feeding area, and then in the evening they get turned out to the pasture. So in the morning and afternoon, it's quite a deal to lead 60 horses to the feeding area, and each horse needs to have their halter put on, and then a lead rope, and then a worker would bring 4 or 5 horses to the feeding area. And as they were talking about this, you could see how lots of time, lots of manpower. And one of the workers said, we should teach them to just come on their own. And so they thought about this, and when they mentioned this in the book, I thought, well, how's this ever going to happen, And so they thought maybe they could do it. And so they would let, when it was feeding time, the horses knew. And so they would want to go and eat. And so they're really anticipating this. And so they let four horses, just a few at a time, maybe 4 or 5 horses, and some would run over there. And others are just slower paced, and they would walk over there to get their food. And so the ones that ran over there, they would put their halter on and tie them to the post. And the ones that walked there went straight in to begin eating. So every day, the horses that got there quickly running would get tied up, and they would have to wait until everyone came in orderly fashion, walking over there. They went straight to their food. So gradually, these other horses that were in a hurry, they learned that it doesn't benefit them to hurry. So they learned to walk over there too. And so they would train them in this manner, and let different groups come, and maybe larger groups. And after a couple of weeks, they were trained. And none of the horses, maybe just sometimes, and they would tie them up and make them wait, and all the other horses would go to eat, and then the ones that were in a hurry had to wait till they all got in there. Then they were let loose and they could eat. And so they learned in not that long a time that they could all get to eat if they walked quietly, mindfully, in order to go to their feeding station. So there's no running, no fighting, no pushing of each other. They would just go there. So as I was reading this, I was thinking about the temple, and I try to think of not only training of horses, but does this correspond at all to life at the temple, how temples are run and things like this? And I was remembering a time at a different temple, beginning of the year. It was September, and so Dharma school was beginning again. And so I was brand new at this temple, and they said, oh, we always have a welcome back lunch at the start of the Dharma school year. So, oh, okay. And so they showed me what's up, and the Dharma school kids came, and they would have this hot dog lunch, right? Hot dog and all the other things that go along with the hot dog. And so when the day came, they served hot dogs, and the teachers were happy, and the parents were helping, and the students were eating, and they're seated in the social hall, maybe a quarter of the social hall. The kids were gathered around and enjoying, they had whatever, hot dogs and chips and soda and all these things, okay? And I was watching this, everyone's happy, and the rest of the Sangha are watching them, and they're happy that the kids are back at the temple, and it seemed like a nice day, but still, it seemed some kind of odd to me. So now I was thinking, why don't we feed everyone? And so I asked them later on, next week or a couple weeks later, talking to the teachers, why don't we feed everyone instead of just the Dharma school kids? So, but it's for the kids. And I thought, well, maybe instead of welcoming them back to the temple, and the kind of the emphasis is on me and what do I get, and I am special. I get hot dogs and chips and soda, and where's my cupcake, and all these kind of things. And instead of that, maybe we should be welcoming them back to the ways of the temple. Maybe instead of serving the kids can serve everyone else. And then the elders could be recognized. The temple could be recognized as a place of the Dharma. The elders can be put in a position of respect and serving them. And maybe this would be a more of a lesson of the Dharma. So I brought this point up, and maybe we can do this, you know. And the response, but we've always done it this way. So how do you think that went? I'm going to end that story right there. And maybe you could think of how that might go at your temples, or what is the same or what is different at our temples now. Each month, Shotsuki service, our Shotsuki families come to take turns to honor the family members we have lost, and the other temple members come as well to take part in the service and enjoy the service and the Dharma message, and chanting together and being supportive of these Shotsuki families. And not only do we reconnect to our families, but we reconnect to the natural order of things. We reconnect to the harmony of the infinite and the rhythms of the world. This happens by stepping beyond ourselves and our self-concerns and being a part of the whole. We set up the temple and the service to allow this to occur. Our connection to Amida is allowed to be perceived. And this is what happens during our Shotsuki service. This is what happens during every service, whether it's Shotsuki or a different memorial or a funeral or a Sunday service. This is what happens. We are allowed to perceive our interconnection greater than ourselves. And so this is the Dharma lesson that the temple always provides. So I kind of see this in how Mark Rashid trained his horses and let them have kind of a voice, let them be involved and select where they want to be, how they want to be, how they want to act, and they move in this harmonious manner together, supporting each other and not being antagonistic towards each other. And the same thing happens at the temple, where services are provided, opportunities to reconnect to the infinite, to Amida. And in this sense, we come in contact and become a part of this harmony that is always there. So please join me in Gassho, and we will conclude this service. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. So again, thank you very much for joining us for this service. I'll light the incense here and there, and we can each come up to offer incense however we have set up to do in our homes. So we'll see you in a week when we gather again. Thank you very much. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Namanda, 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 namanda.